Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle, here to preview some recent finds at garage sales and to talk with you about which ones I plan to do some videos on and how these things might wind up once these reels are fixed and repaired or what have you. But before I start that, I want to thank our first responders and essential personnel, everybody involved in keeping us safe. The first responders, the fire, police, rescue, first aid, all the uniformed services. On the medical side, everybody in the hospitals, in the clinics, in the long-term and acute care, all of the folks that drive the ambulances and the like. And finally, to the essential personnel, the folks keeping our supply chains filled and stocked. Thank you for everything it is that you do. Well, this past weekend was a busy weekend at the flea markets, and I was able to find a few reels, and most of them I think I averaged around $10 a reel. I wanted to share them with you, talk a little bit about those reels, and discuss what made me buy these and where it's going to go next with them. So let's start with a group of about 7 reels that I had. I was really interested in the one because I want to use this one on the upcoming striped bass season. This one is a Garcia 9600 with at least one ball bearing. This is ball bearings, so that's plural, probably 2. I've done a 9000 on this one. I don't think I've done a 9600. We may do a video on this one. This is a very solid reel. So why does it say Garcia and not Garcia Mitchell? Well, interestingly enough, the history of those two companies was pretty significant. Garcia was the U.S. distributor for the Mitchell brand, and they had quite a long relationship where Garcia would import Mitchell and they would be branded Mitchell Garcia. And what happened was in the, I believe it was the late 80s, Garcia, the distributor, actually went out of business. And what happened was their going out of business forced Mitchell to tank, because they're such a critical customer of theirs that when Garcia went out of business, Mitchell went bankrupt. Well, subsequently the Garcia brand was resurrected. Today Garcia is part of Abu Garcia, part of the Pure Fishing Group, and the interim reels were made under the Garcia nameplate without the Mitchell. So these are later than the Mitchell reels. This one lines up pretty closely with the Mitchell 302. Beautiful saltwater reel. I'm going to work on that one. It was made in Japan. I'm going to probably do a video on this one, and then I'm going to put some line on it and go see if I can't catch the striped bass season, which should be coming up shortly. Next up is a nice reel, also a Japanese reel. A Korean reel. This one is a Daiya J13. Works nice, has all of the typical boat rash and salt scarring, and there's not much you can do about that. We can clean the top and the case. This pitting on these metal handles, well, you just kind of live with that. There was one more spinner in there that came along with it, and sure enough, it's the Garcia 3000. So the fellow that had these said that they're quite old, and they were his father's or his uncle's. I don't remember exactly which one. And they had a medium-duty one. This one lines up with the Mitchell 300. This is the 3000 Garcia, and then they had a heavy-duty one which lined up with the 302. This one for inshore and nearshore fishing. The other one a little bit for the surf and the like. And both of these work. So they have the kind of the discoloration. You can see the peeling here. We'll see how much of that can clean up. But one or both of these will make it to a video in the near term. And then I have this one. I'm going to do a video on this one. I'm not sure what this is. I'm thinking from this nameplate here, it could be a Zebco, it could be a Kingfisher. It's just one of these basic Japanese reels made in Japan. It has the wire loop for the bail. It's nothing but a bump bail. It'll come around and hit the handle here, and that'll close the bail. It's a nice solid performer. It was sold as a combination reel in the 1970s, maybe even the 60s. And we'll take it apart. I'll show you how it's made. It's always fun to see the technologies that were used and employed. So that's the spinning reels. There's 4 of those. Then I have a couple of Penn reels in here. I have a Penn 85. This one is in beautiful condition. It appears as though it really hasn't been fished much. There was line on here. There is a lot of dirt on there. And that generally means that at one point it was spooled up, ready to go fishing, and then kind of didn't do much of it. And if it did do some fishing, it was cleaned up afterwards. The other one didn't fare so well. This is also a Penn 85. These are the Seaboy series, and this is the biggest in the Seaboy series. You also had the next one up on this from a good, better, best strategy was the Penn Delmar. That was the 285. And then you moved up to the Penn Long Beach. And the Penn Long Beach, the one that would be this frame size would be the 60. And then the 65 would be a wider frame. I just got to ask the question, these side plates break. They break on this, the Delmar, the Long Beach. They're virtually impossible to find other than through salvaged reels or donor reels. And one of the things I mentioned was you can use this side plate or any of those side plates interchangeably. The bolt patterns are all the same. So this one could fit on a Delmar or a Long Beach and vice versa. The difference is the Long Beach does have a chrome ring on the inside of it, but the chrome ring is actually recessed in here and has nothing to do with the width between the spools and the reel operation. So if you're stuck, if you can't get one of these and you want an operational reel, look to those other reels as pieces and parts. And then the last one, which kind of tells me it was his father's or his grandfather's, this is the 77. I believe that one was called the Seahawk. It was all in a C series. And this is the direct drive knuckle buster. And it's a fun little reel. You don't see them fished very much, but a nice reel overall. So those are the 7 reels I picked up from the one vendor. And again, I think at the end of the day, I probably averaged for these and the other reels about $10 a reel. You need to look at condition. You need to think about what you're going to do with the reel, and you're going to have to look for repairs. I did mention that this one fared worse. I have a broken spool here, so this reel cannot work in its present condition. That spool is cracked. It used to be said that these plastic spools were built for linen, and that the monofilament would put too much pressure onto the outside of the reel, and that could cause the spool to crack. Well, if that's the case, this one certainly did crack under that, and you can actually see how the monofilament is pulled around there. How do you solve that? Well, believe it or not, Penn used to tell you, take the reel off after you fish it. Take the line off the reel after you fish it and re-spool to relieve that tension. Okay, and one more set of grandfather's reels, if you will, or father's reels. These are Ocean Cities. So this is the Ocean City 981, and I have a pair of these that came. And I know they're old because Ocean City stopped making the reels in 1957, but I know they're more old because they have the original Dacron line on it, or Dacron line, depending on how that's, or linen line. So if this is still sitting on there, you know that hasn't been fished in quite some time. I can remember going with my dad in the 1960s fishing, and we would have that line on our poles. So it's not unusual to find it, but chances are if you find a reel at a flea market and has that line on it, you know that hasn't gone fishing in quite some time. And here's its brother. So we got two. This one, the one side of the spool looks very, very nice. The other side looks a little bit more tarnished. This one's got the clicker. There you go. I tested these before I bought them. Couldn't understand why that one wasn't working right now. You do want to test reels before you purchase. You want to make sure that if there's something wrong with them, that you negotiate that into the price of the reels you pay. Next one up is the predecessor for the Penn Jigmaster. This one is the Penn Surfmaster 250. It's got a smaller main gear. It's got the main gears that come off of the Long Beach series, but it's got a smaller main gear, but it's got everything else you know about the Jigmaster. It's got the single take-apart screw system, which I'm kind of not taking apart right now. Whoops, there we go. Maybe I can get that out. It's got the frame and it's got the interchangeable spool so that you can carry a couple of different spool widths with you. This one you can see hasn't been maintained in quite some time. There's some stuck grease on there, but otherwise it's a clean reel. And that spool can fit onto the Penn 500. And actually everything could if you wanted to just use this whole frame and side plate and substitute the Jigmaster side frame in there. You could do that if you wanted to, the gear side. But these are nice reels by themselves. and certainly worth the investment. And then finally, I just got a question on this one. Somebody said they have an Oceanside Reel, and the Oceanside Reel is missing a pawl cap. Well, this one doesn't have a pawl cap on it, but they said it looks very much like a pen, or the pen parts interchangeable. Well, they're not. This is a reel. It's an Oceanside Reel. It was sold by Kmart, and this reel, this one's tight, but it's working. So what that tells me is that goes in the same line as all of these. They've been sitting on the shelf. It was the same vendor that was selling them, so it doesn't surprise me that that they all probably were around that. This doesn't look fished at all. This one looks in very good condition. It was made in Japan. I believe it was made by the Olympic company. You'll find the Olympic dolphin with the blue side plates looks almost identical to this reel. So this one I am going to fix up, and we're going to find a home for that one somewhere because I don't like level line reels in the way I fish. So that's a preview there. So I got 11 reels. I averaged about $10 a reel at a local flea market. I think I did well. And if you see any of these that you would like to see a video on, please let me know. I do plan to do the 3000 and the 9600 Garcias. But if there's another one in that lot that you would like to see, please let me know. I'll be happy to try to fit them into my video schedules, and we'll try and keep everybody understanding and learning more about how fishing reels are made, how they're serviced, and how to keep them fishing. So please stay safe, stay well, and stay watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.